Hello AWS team, my name is Poojan Jain and today I'll be talking about AWS Identity and Access Management, also known as IAM. First of all, let's see what topic we are going to discuss. So the topics are IAM, then components of IAM, the authorization and authentication part of IAM policies, users, groups and roles. The introduction part gives that IAM is a service provided by AWS from where you can centrally manage the access given to any user in the AWS account. The access rights are who can access the resource, which resources can be accessed, and what can the user do with the resource, and how the resources can be accessed. Also, IAM is a no-cost AWS feature, which means a user won't be levied any charge for using the feature. The authentication part. So the user can authenticate and gain access to IAM with two ways. The first is programmatic access, which the user can do with AWS CLI, which is command line interface, also AWS SDK, which is software development kit. The user can also access the IAM with management console, for which he will need a 12-digit account ID or alias, or AWS IAM username and AWS IAM password. Also, if the user has enabled the multi-factor authentication, which is MFA, then the console will also ask for an authentication code. The authorization part also gives permissions to determine which resources and other operations are allowed. The best practice for an authorization is to give the least privilege, means the least access to the user which is needed. Don't give any other access which is not needed to the user. Also, the services and the access given to the user apply to the global region, like to the global settings. The settings won't be charged according to the region. The components are user, group, policy, and role. First is a user, a person or application that can authenticate with an AWS account. A group, a collection of IAM users that are granted identical authorization. Then IAM policy, the document that defines which resources can be accessed and the level of access to each resource. Then IAM role, useful mechanism to grant a set of permissions for making AWS service requests. IAM groups, permission granted by attaching IAM policy or policies to the group. A user can belong to multiple groups. Groups can be nested, cannot be nested. You cannot create a group within a group, but a user can belong to multiple groups, which means a user with different groups have different policies as well. IAM role. An IAM role is an IAM identity with specific permissions intended to be assumed by a person, application, or service. A role provides temporary security credentials as well. IAM policies. An IAM policy is a document that defines permission. There are two types of policies. First is identity-based policies, for which you attach a policy to IAM entity, which will be a user, group, or a role. Then the second is resource-based policies, for which the policy will be attached to a resource. Example of a policy. In the policy, you will decide what effect is to be done, which will be allow or deny, then the action to the specific resource for which the policy is made, then the user, and the effect which will be done to the resource as well. Resource-based policies. Resource-based policies are attached to a resource, not to a user, group, or role. Resource-based policies are supported only by some AWS services, which means this policy can't be attached to every AWS service. IAM permissions. Is the permission explicitly denied? If the permission is explicitly denied, then yes, deny, and the permission will reset. If the permission is not explicitly denied, then it will go to what is denied and what is allowed. If the permission is explicitly allowed, then there will be then all the permission will be given to the user, and if the permission is not explicitly allowed and there is some part is allowed and some part is denied, then it will be implicit denied. Thank you.